You're here to learn about how to simplify your strategic plan. Welcome to Leadership Development Time. My name is Charlie.rhea. I'm an EOS implementer. Let's do this. So for today, we're going to have some objectives of being open and honest. It's for you guys to hopefully be open to learning something new and be honest with yourself in terms of what's working, what's not working. My goal is for you guys to be able to learn so that you can develop and eventually become empowered. And that's kind of why you're here, hopefully, is to get better. And so the agenda, how it's going to work, I'm going to explain to you what strategic planning is, which is the Vision Traction Organizer. So what is the VTO? I'm going to help you understand why that's important. Ultimately, where does the VTO fit within the EOS model? How do you make a VTO? And then a challenge. I'll throw a challenge at you and give you some next steps. So let's do this thing. What is a VTO? So it's just an acronym. The V stands for vision, T is traction, O is organizer. So break it down backwards. It's an organizer of your traction, which is about execution, and your vision, which is about where you're going. And so vision is where are you going? Traction is about focus, discipline, and execution back on the vision. And then you must have it in a one area, one place that's organized. So we call it an organizer because it just keeps all your thoughts organized and in one place. And so VTO for short, vision, traction, organizer. It's a simplified approach to strategic planning. It's another way to say it. It's a two-page document that holds 8 questions. And so if you want to get clear on where you're going and how you're going to get there, answer 8 simple questions. These questions, like I said, they're simple, but they're profoundly strategic. And so that's what makes EOS extremely powerful, is that it's a simplified approach to running your business. And so it's a way to create alignment. And ultimately, that's what you're trying to create, is alignment within your company. So why does this matter? Clarify, simplify. It matters because your vision is probably in your head and you want to get it on paper so you can communicate it ultimately to every single member of your leadership team and to your entire company. And so that's a huge reason why it's extremely important, is to clarify and simplify your vision. Also, it helps you create unity within your organization. So it really does come down to how do you create maximum alignment within your organization, and not just at the organizational level, but first at the leadership team level. So where the leadership team goes, so goes the rest of the company. And so this idea of alignment and accountability is extremely important, and this is why it matters. Okay, one vision, one voice, one common language. You're a unified, united front as a leadership team, as a department, and hopefully throughout your entire company, there's just unity. There's a lot of power when you get every single person rowing in the same direction, right? 100% alignment, 100% on the same page. Another reason this is so important is that it's a simple and effective way to create a plan for your organization. You probably already have an idea of what the plan is, but now you're actually communicating it with everyone. And so it helps you understand you can't focus on everything. What are the top things that you must focus on? It's giving you an opportunity to focus and have higher priorities, you know, in terms of when to do things, how to do things, and what to focus on. And so that's really why it matters. Now, I did want to explain where this fits within the EOS model. And so there's a vision component. It's the first key component that is part of the EOS model. And within the vision component, there's a tool and a discipline called the 8 questions, and that's really what the VTO is 8 questions. And the key here is every 90 days, you want to stand up in front of your company. The visionary should be doing this and giving a state of the company address. And so you're, as a leadership team, you're reviewing and refining this VTO, these 8 questions, during your quarterlies and your 2-day annual event. And so this process of 90 days, right, communicating the VTO with everyone within the organization, that's what should be happening, and that's how you create sustainability around unity for the vision. And so imagine your business is here at the center, and it feels like there's 136 different issues hitting you at one time. The reality is that those are all symptoms, and the root cause is actually only 6 key components. And so the 6 issues or the 6 key components that make up a business, if you focus on 6, you will actually get much stronger. And so the EOS model, which I'm about to show you, I'm going to go a quicker version of it, but this high level overview, this is how you simplify your businesses. Focus on 6, you and your leadership team. And so vision, that's where you're going to go and how you're going to get there. People is the idea of how do you make sure that you have great people in your organization in order to accomplish that great vision that you just established. Data is about making decisions off of facts, figures, objective information. And so most leadership teams will actually be really good at, coming together and making subjective feelings and emotions and using that to make decisions. But instead, you want to take real data that's actually factual and that's useful and it's objective. And so when your vision, people, and data components become clear, everything in your company becomes transparent. What's working, what's not working. And so you're going to start to have a ton of issues. And that's the key component number 4 is issues component. How do you solve the right issues at the root level for the greater good of the company so that they go away forever? And you do it one time. That's what issues component is all about. Process component is the 5th key component. And this is about creating consistency with the right and best way to do things so that it's repeatable. And if you're more consistent, it's going to allow you to be more scalable. And if you're more scalable, it leads to more profit. And if you're more profitable, it's a win-win, right? Hopefully your clients and your customers are winning, you're winning, and your employees are winning. And so there's that triple win kind of happening. And what we're trying to create here with processes is so much of a better environment, a healthy work environment to manage the people. And it's a fun environment, right? People know what's expected of them. And so that's the process component. Traction is the idea of focus, discipline, and execution. And so traction is underneath vision because vision without traction is hallucination. It's just a pipe dream. So you must have both. So that's the 6th key component is generating this feeling of traction. Together, all 6 of these key components, this is what we call the EOS model. And so what we're doing right now is diving into the vision component and we're saying, all right, how do you get strong? If you could only do 2 disciplines or tools to get strong in this vision component with your organization, what would you do? And so the first thing to get strong, the first way to do that is to get clear on 8 questions. And so here's what they are. What are your core values? What's your core focus? Question 2. Question 3 is what's your 10-year target? Question 4 is what is your marketing strategy? Question 5 is what is your 3-year picture? Question 6 is what's your 1-year plan? Question 7 is what are your rocks or 90-day priorities? And then lastly, question 8 is what are your issues? Okay, the issues list. And so this is kept on a 2-page document, like I was explaining earlier, the Vision Traction Organizer. It's an extremely simple way to think about how to capture all the important things in your head and put them in one place. And so if you actually reach out to me and you want one, I will be more than happy to send you a copy of it. This is what the 2-page document looks like. Vision Traction Organizer, super awesome. I could be more than happy to send you one if you reach out to me. But the reality is that in order for you to get strong as a company, you must first get strong as a leadership team. And by strong, I mean get clear on what are the answers to these 8 questions. So let's take them one at a time. Core values, that's who you are at the core. Who are you guys? At the core, what's your DNA? And so what this does is it allows you to attract great people to your organization and repel the wrong people. And it's extremely important to be clear on this is who we are, and this is how we hire great people and fire people that don't fit. And so establishing core values is an important first step to establish that right fit for your company culture. Question 2 is really focused on what's your core focus. And the core focus has been called a million different things. Jim Collins, in his book Good to Great, he calls it, the hedgehog concept. Stephen Covey in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he has this concept of the 8th habit. Later, he goes on to explain that's the voice. And so mission statement, vision statement, purpose statement, we call it core focus because it comes from your core and it's where you're going to be laser focused. And so it really boils down to what is your sweet spot, and that's core focus. Question 2. Question 3 is what is your 10-year target? Now this could be 5 years out, could be 25 years. Most clients pick 10 years, but Where are you headed in the next 10 years? It's an opportunity to have a specific number or some sort of a, an amount of employees. You're building towards something. You're generating excitement. In the next 10 years, here's where we're going as a company, as an organization. Question 4 is, what is your marketing strategy? This really boils down to who are you going to talk to and what are you going to say? And so you're trying to maximize and get the highest return on your investment of your precious marketing and sales efforts. And so it's broken down into 4 parts. The first part is your target market, and this really is who are you trying to talk to? And so demographically is what are they? Geographically, where are they? And then psychographically, why are they coming to you? Why should I work with you? What's the pain that you help alleviate or the problem that you help solve? And so when you develop this target market, you're using it as a filter. Almost think about a funnel. You take thousands and thousands of people that you may know that might fit this profile and you put them in the filter. And out comes the funnel, out comes the list. It's their top 20 or top 50. Those are the people that it's your target market, your ideal client or your ideal prospect. And so that's who you talk to. And then what do you say to them is you say your 3 uniques, which are 3 characteristics or differentiators that separate you from your competition. And so if I was to line up 10 other competitors, what separates you from them? There might be one thing that you share, maybe 2 things that a couple of you share, but no way should you have all 3 things that you guys share. And so what it does is it gives you an opportunity to have a competitive advantage to set you up and make you unique and distinct. The proven process is just a 1-page visual illustration to show your client or your customer what it's like to work with you. It shows them that you're going to take care of them. What's the journey that you're going to invite them in on? And so it's a simple way to show them instead of just telling them, here's what it's like to work with us. And so what that does is it also simplifies and clarifies the process or the journey that they're about to embark on if they decide to work with you. And then the guarantees is a pledge or a promise. That's the 4th part of the marketing strategy. It lowers the fear of adoption. It increases the opportunity for them to most likely step forward and work with you. They feel good about actually deciding to move forward with you. And so when you're clear on your core values, you know who you are. As an organization, you know who you are. Question 1. Question 2, when you know that you have a core focus in place, you know what you are. Question 3, with the 10-year target, now you know where you're going. And then question 4 is the marketing strategy. You know how you're going to get there. And so we start to bring it down to a little bit more in terms of crystallizing and visualizing what needs to happen in the next 3 years. So based on that 10-year, where do you guys need to go in the next 3 years? So we start to paint a picture. We come up with a future date, revenue, profit measurables, and then 5 to 15 bullet points of what does this look like? And so when you're doing that, what that's going to do is help you, again, crystallize and visualize what needs to happen in the next 3 years. The reason this is so important is that if you can see it in your mind's eye, you and your leadership team, you ultimately are going to have a much higher chance of actually accomplishing it, and it's going to set you up so much better for 1 year, the 1-year plan. And so we start to take the vision and bring it down to the ground level with this idea of generating traction. And so we do that through the 1-year plan. And so that's question 6 is what is your 1-year plan? And really what we're looking at is what are the top 3 to 7 goals for this next year. And so you take those same predictions, future date, revenue, profit measurables, and then goals, 3 to 7, not 23. If everything's important, nothing is important. So the ultimate example is less is more. And so how do you take this simplified strategic approach to say, we can't focus on everything. We need to simplify and say, what are the most important, highest priorities, top goals, 3 to 7 that have to get done, mission critical in this next year. And then you start to take those goals and you bring them down to the 90-day world. And so that's really what the rocks concept is it's a 90-day priority. And so you follow the same predictions, revenue, profit measurables, and then you have a specific rock for each owner. So a specific person on the leadership team, a member, they own it. And so it's 3 to 7, and ultimately you're creating 3 to 7 company rocks and 3 to 7 individual rocks for each individual member of the leadership team. If you do this within your department, you could have a department set of rocks, and then each individual could have rocks. And so the concept of rocks comes from Stephen Covey with the glass jar cylinder. Rocks are your highest priorities, but they may not be urgent. So here on this side, this example, they put the pebbles in first and the sand and the water and then the medium rocks and the big rocks, there's no room, they don't fit. And so instead take the reverse approach with your time, focus on your highest priorities first, the things that have to get done, mission critical, and then everything else fits in place. And so if we understand this concept from a 24-hour standpoint, how are you going to maximize your energy, your effort, your time within a 24-hour time slot? It also applies from this 90-day perspective, this 90-day world. And that's what we try to help people understand with EOS is that you need to try to live with a 90-day focus. And so the last question is question 8, and that's what are your issues? And really there's two types of issues, long-term and short-term. So long-term would be 90 days plus, short-term would be 90 days or shorter. And so those are opportunities for you to actually solve the right issues in the right way so they go away forever for the greater good of the company. And you can solve those during your weekly level 10 meetings, or every 90 days you come together for a quarterly, and that's where you're solving those bigger, longer term issues. So I know I gave you a lot. That's the VTO in its essence, is 8 simple questions. And so if you want to get strong on the vision component, you must share it with everybody. And so 100% strong basically looks like this. You're going to get together with your entire organization every 90 days, and the visionary, the leader of the organization, is going to give a state of the company address. And here's how it goes. Here's where we've been the past 90 days. Here's where we are today. And here's where we're going. And you're literally walking your entire company through those 8 questions. So if that's not happening, that's an issue, and probably something needs to happen in terms of the leadership team needs to be all on the same page in terms of this state of the company address. And so guys, that's the vision component, and what I showed you was what 100% strong looks like in the vision component. So how do you actually make a VTO? Well, the first thing you want to do is read the book Traction. Okay, it's a great book. Again, if you want to reach out to me, I'd be more than happy to send you a copy. But in chapter 10, it really talks about this concept of building traction first and then vision. And so you would think you would start with just answering the 8 questions. The reality is that you want to gain momentum. And so the way to do that is you create a common language by understanding the 5 leadership abilities. Then create the right structure through the accountability chart. Then create the right rocks, so 90-day priorities. This is with your leadership team. And then create the right meeting pulse and ultimately create a first cut of the scorecard. If you focus on gaining momentum or traction first, the vision will follow, and you'll be able to actually have a more powerful session and opportunity to get a strategic view of the vision. And so instead of building the vision first, then traction, we take a traction first, vision second approach. And so how do you build the vision after that? Well, now you've created focus with your leadership team. Get together in a room and answer the 8 questions. And guys, you could try and do it by yourself, and you probably would have a lot of success. But if you want to go faster, further, with less frustration, use an implementer, use an EOS implementer. We act as a facilitator, a teacher, and a coach. So we're going to facilitate healthy discussion. We're going to help coach you through stuff, and ultimately we're going to be teaching you how to run on EOS, and so that you can run on EOS and self-implement one day. We're trying to create that independence instead of dependence. And so just to show you an example of what this would look like, the 90-minute meeting is the first thing that you would do if you're working with an implementer. You may have already done this, and that's awesome. The focus day is where we would come together for a 7-hour day, plus or minus an hour. It could be 6 hours, could be 8 hours, and that's where we would cover the concept of the 5 leadership abilities to break through the ceiling. So it's a concept, a language that we use called hitting the ceiling. Also, we would have something that's called the accountability chart and rocks. And the rocks is 90-day priorities. And so every single person will be walking away from their organization or from that focus day with clear focus on, for the next 90 days, here's where we need to focus as a company. And for the next 90 days, here's where we need to focus each individual. Finally, you're developing a meeting pulse, which is the level 10 meeting, and then a scorecard. And so the focus day is an incredible time to come together and focus, and I would love to help you on that. You may have already done that as well. You have a 30-day process we call a spaced learning, and that's the 30 days is really an opportunity for you to go and take what you just learned in focus day and put it into action. And so this is an opportunity to say we learn stuff and then we immediately do, we apply. 30 days later, you come back together with me and we do a vision building day two, vision building day one. The first part of the vision building day, we're actually going to review and refine all the focus day tools and say what's working, what's not working. And so the spaced learning process is an opportunity to review and refine and then add new learning. We answer the 8 questions and go as far as we can. 30 days later, you do the same thing. And so this is an amazing opportunity to say, we have focus and then vision. From here, you enter into the 90-day world, and this may be where you're at. You live here forever. You have a quarterly every 90 days with your leadership team, and then you do a 2-day annual event. It's a 2-day special event where you're working on team health, and you're going back and making sure, are we still in line with that VTO, those 8 questions? So what I just showed you was a quick overview of the EOS process, and you may be more familiar with that, but the VTO, the Vision Traction Organizer, shows up really every quarterly and during the 2-day annual event. And so some additional resources for you guys. If you're not using a software program to simplify and streamline how to create and use this VTO, consider 90.io. You can get a 30-day free trial. You may be on it right now. Go ahead and click this this website here, go.90.io/Charlie.rhea, or you can just scan this QR code. And so again, it's a way to simplify and streamline how do you actually take the physical copy and put it in digital format. Another resource I want to give you guys is just an opportunity to go to EOS Worldwide. And if you click on this, let me go back. If you click on this QR code, you can actually get a free resource of the Vision Traction Organizer. Also, if you did want a free copy of this, reach out to me. You can get a free copy for the first chapter for free on eosworldwide.com. Amazing book. Would encourage you to check it out. Here's your challenge. The next 60 days, fill out the VTO. Get with your leadership team and fill it out, right? Answer the 8 questions. Do this with your leadership team. And guys, if you want help, reach out to me. But again, my encouragement and challenge to you is focus on traction first, then vision. So really appreciate y'all's time today, and may God bless you. Have a great day. Make it great for others.